Ryan Miller from the band Guster is with me this morning. Ryan, we've already met. We're already friends. Do you remember?
We're already friends?
Yeah, do you remember?
I didn't even look at your name before I called you.
You remember Parker. Come on, Parker Springfield back in the 90s. We had fun together. You don't remember this?
Oh, did you and I go on a private jet to Newfoundland to eat scallops?
Yeah,
is that Parker?
You do remember. You do remember. No, dude, it was back. You had a gig in the 90s at Dartmouth College, and I was there, and we were backstage hanging out for a little bit, and we had a great time. And it's so nice to see that you're still the same guy you've always been, man. You're just a fun guy. So I'm glad I have you on the line, and you're having that show over at the Cheshire Fairgrounds with drive-in-live.com. You've got a couple of shows coming up on the 15th of August, which is coming up this Saturday. 3 o'clock and 8 o'clock are the two shows. If you've moved to Vermont, you formed the band in Massachusetts, you're pretty much a New Englander now. What would you say to people? I mean, you've spent so much time in this area. Have you always gravitated to New England?
Well, my mom was born in Texas, and I was raised in Texas, and so she was always like, you got to get out of here. You got to go to New England. So I kind of had it drilled into me as a child that I needed to go to school in Boston or get out of Texas. So I did, and then once I came out up here, and I went to college in '91. Right. And I loved it. I mean, my wife grew up in Vermont, which has everything to do with why we're up here. But
right.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place, and I'm still exploring it and finding all the little fun little hidey holes. It's great.
And one of the ways you're doing that, by the way, if people don't know, go to the Vermont PBS site, because Ryan has his own little. It's kind of like a web show, right? And I know they have it on the TV station as well, but it's like a 15-minute, almost like a podcast kind of show, making friends with Ryan Miller. And you go around and you kind of meet organized, what do you call them? Not organized weirdos, but just
high-functioning weirdos.
High-functioning weirdos in Vermont. Who's the weirdest weirdo so far in Vermont?
Oh, the weirdest?
Yeah.
Well, I think I met my best friend on there. He's pretty weird. There's some weird. There was like the foragers who went. There were a couple. They were like in their 60s, and they were fish, and they were like really people from the land, but they would get food that then they would ship to like Harrods in London for like $600 a pound. That was probably like they were definitely, Nova and Les. They're all weird though. That was good.
Yeah, it's good to be weird, don't you think?
Oh, that's my favorite.
I was thinking about this too, and I'm like, here a couple of old Gen Xers talking about the 90s, and here you're still doing it, making music, and you're still writing. You've got that new album that's out, or is it out yet?
Well, we have an orchestral album that came out like a couple weeks ago or a month ago.
Yeah,
that we recorded live with the Omaha Symphony.
Yeah, well, I was going to bring that up too, because I'm kind of you did something to me with that album. I went through my listeners know I went through a little bit of a breakup recently, a hard one too. I was engaged to this woman, and it just didn't happen. And I knew you guys were coming to town, and I've heard, I used to listen to quite a few albums, and I didn't know you and I were going to be talking. So I popped on and I found the album, and I was like, okay, 2 points for honesty. I need this one. And you made me cry. I was blubbering like an idiot. Not only the lyrics with the song, which are just beyond, it will blow your mind, but you add the Omaha Symphony to that, and I was crying for like 30 minutes. Thanks a lot, buddy. No, it's true. I mean,
it's an emotional thing to have an orchestra play these songs. Well, I appreciate that the music affects you like that. I'm sorry that it was the soundtrack to something so heartbreaking. Maybe it will help. Maybe those will be healing tears.
Yeah, well, I think
That's all I can help for. But yeah, it was the orchestra stuff can be very, very heavy duty on all fronts. Both from a performance standpoint and also from a listener standpoint.
That song in particular, why did you write that? How do you go through your writing process? I mean, I've talked to and seen interviews with people like Paul McCartney and stuff, and a lot of people especially like McCartney, he'll I just dreamed it up, man. It's like weird stuff. How do you sit and write such powerful lyrics? I mean, if you knew the secret formula, I bet you'd be teaching it. But how does it work with you? What's your process?
I mean, it works kind of differently. Sometimes they all come at once, and sometimes it's like you labor over it. And, if I don't know how detailed you want to get, but for me, melody comes first. So
Okay.
I usually have, like, some people will just write words and then they'll put a song. They'll be like, oh, I like these words and I'm going to sing it. But for me, melody comes first, and then I have to. It's almost like a crossword puzzle. I'm like, oh, I like the way this vowel sounds here, and I really like this word here. And then it's almost like this reverse engineering where I have to figure out what I'm writing about and then stick it in. It's a pretty intricate puzzle. But even this morning, and I haven't been doing a ton of writing for the band, but this morning I also do film scoring too. So I was scoring a film, and one of those cues that I wrote they didn't like, and I heard it this morning. I was like, oh my God, this could be a song. And then like so many words came out like all this morning. I was working on it before I talked to you, and I'll probably work on it when I'm done. And it's like I'm in a headspace where I can kind of channel it. I don't know. It comes in fits and starts. It's different. But yeah, if you listen to any master like Leonard Cohen or Neil Young or Paul McCartney or Dylan, or they all talk about it the same way, about the music just kind of you being a channel for the music. I mean, it's pretty universal in that sense.
So that being said, do you have any influences when it comes to writing for Guster or writing for yourself? Because there's 3 bands that I kind of hear in Guster, and I'm curious if we share the same opinion on that.
Oh, I mean, so many things.
Yeah.
I mean, a million things. I mean, I think some of it comes from, there's bands that I listen to for groove and feel, and there's bands I listen to for color and texture and sounds and production, and there's bands I listen to, artists I listen to for lyrics, and other listens that I listen to for melody. So it's a combination of all those things. I don't know that there's a band or 2 or 3 that's like, oh, that's the one that I wish my band sounded like necessarily.
Sure.
I'm curious about your 3 though.
Yeah. So here's so when you listen to Guster, in my opinion, if you've never heard him before, you can easily tell that there's a Vermont influence. In my opinion, you can tell there's a Vermont influence because first of all, the first band I kind of think of a little bit when I listen to Guster is Fish. Okay. That I get a little bit of a Fish vibe in there, just a small one. And I think that reflects your Vermontism. All right.
Okay.
Oasis, for whatever, I think is the melodies are very Oasis-y.
I like both of those.
And I'm throwing in some Spin Doctors because.
Whoa.
You've got
no one expected a Spin Doctors uppercut at the end.
Yeah, I know. Bam. You've got that kind of that kind of cool groovy vibe to it, which is very Spin Doctors. Exactly. I mean, you've got that little vibe. So those 3 is what I would say to somebody who's like, well, describe Guster. So you agree with the first 2, but the Spin Doctors kind of threw you, right?
Oh, I don't even know if I agree with the first 2. I just like that you said that.
Nice. You've got to check out Guster. They're performing in have you done the drive-in style concerts yet? Have you done this yet, or is this the first one?
No, we're doing 2 shows, and they're both on Saturday, and that's it for the year.
Well, no kidding.
Yeah, that will actually be our only show probably for like at least a calendar year. So
Wow.
it's a big thing. Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, the website is drive-in-live.com, and the guys who are putting this together, they're really a godsend because around here, as you know, with the COVID and everything else, it's such a drag, and there's no entertainment. We've got to get out, and having these shows has been fantastic over at the Cheshire Fairgrounds. It's you and bring 4 of your friends. You get the ticket, you drive in, you have some fun, you do a little tailgating ahead of time, and Guster is on this Saturday. 2 shows, 3 and 8, and you can get your tickets at drive-in-live.com. Are you still doing the show on PBS, Ryan?
I'm not doing the show currently, but I really enjoyed being a television host. I did a music program after the Making Friends, so it is an active thing I'm really trying to figure out, especially for the fall. So I don't know. Some version of that will happen if it's a podcast or a web series or a TV show. Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's a really fun way to meet people and explore New England for sure.
Yeah, and you do a really good job. It's funny and it's intelligent too because you learn at the same time while you're having fun. So I really like that show a lot. I hope you do more of them.
Thank you.
This Saturday, catch Guster. You're not going to want to miss this. I'll be there in the audience too, and live live on stage like that, you're going to have such a great time, and people are going to respond with their cars, and it's going to be really kind of groovy. You know, you hear a lot of like,
I know.
It's going to be a good gig. August 15th, 2 shows. drive-in-live.com is the website to get your tickets. You and 4 of your friends pack in a vehicle and have a great time out with Guster. Ryan Miller, lead singer of Guster, on the phone with me this morning. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it. And let's keep in touch. I know you don't remember me from the
Parker,
90s.
Was the show at Dartmouth, was it in a big gymnasium?
Yeah. Yes. You remember.
Yeah.
It was. I think it was at the field house.
I do remember that show. I do remember that venue, and I remember playing at Dartmouth. And then there's like, is Common Man there? Is there a restaurant called Common Man?
Yeah, Common Man Restaurant. Yeah, it's there now. At the time, I don't think it existed at the time, but there is now. Yeah.
There was another weird, like, old-timey pub I remember eating that day. Anyway, I have a weird memory. So I do remember you, Parker. I'm glad to be reunited.
Thank you. Me too. And it feels so good. Thanks a lot for making me cry, too. I appreciate that part.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your breakup. Onwards and upwards, my friend.
That's right. Ryan Miller from Guster, thanks so much for being on the show. We're going to see you this Saturday with drive-in-live.com. Get your tickets.